From the 1011 Now streaming studio, this is The Night Beat.
Hello and welcome to the 1011 Now streaming studio. I'm Madison Pitch here with your Night Beat for Wednesday, March 13th, and I am joined with a very special guest, Bill Rentschler. How you doing?
It's been a day.
Yeah, has anything been going on today?
Yeah, it hasn't been busy in the newsroom or in the weather center at all today.
Not at all. Yeah, so my first headline for this story, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out where my cameras are. Trev Alberts, what is going on? I am not an adamant sports follower, so I kind of need someone to explain this to me like I'm 5. You've been following it all day. Break it down for me. Take it away.
Yeah, I know enough to be dangerous. I've been hanging out with Kevin Suits most of the day today, so again, I kind of feel like I know what's going on. So again, you flash back almost 3 years ago now. Trev Alberts is hired in 2021 at the University of Nebraska, coming from UNO. Again, Trev Alberts is a University of Nebraska alum, played here, Butkus Award-winning player, has his name.
I was going to say, he's got his name on the stadium,
on the stadium. And in the years that he was here, he endeavored and did a lot of good things. He was responsible for hiring Matt Rule, but also responsible for things like the fundraising for the Go Big project, which was the football facility, Volleyball Day in Nebraska, which was obviously a tremendous success. But yeah, he's done a lot here, and this wasn't on anyone's radar.
Yeah.
This was not on. I mean, at first, when it started trickling in at around 9 this morning from the Houston Chronicle that they were reporting this, we're like, this is a joke, right? And then it's like, well, no, it's not. And so this leaves a huge hole at the top of Nebraska's sort of leadership at the university, because you lost President Ted Carter last year to Ohio State. And the extra kind of salt in the wound with that is that former Nebraska President Ted Carter, current Ohio State president, hired Texas A&M athletic director Ross Bjork. And that's the whole reason Texas A&M has this opening to begin with. And so the presidency for the university has been open for 7 months. Long time. And there's a lot of speculation that is a big reason why Trev Alberts decided to take this position. Because you've had interim president Chris Kaburik, and there's still kind of no word yet on where this search is for this new president. And Trev Alberts said in his statement when he left, he talked about how leadership is a huge deal.
Yeah, I know some people were wondering if it was money. I have here he was making $1.7 million with an increase to $2.1 million in 2026. And if I understand correctly, he was one of the higher paid ADs in the country.
Second highest in the Big Ten, I believe. And I looked it up earlier. I believe the highest paid athletic director in the country is Chris Del Conte. He's the athletic director for the University of Texas. And he makes $2.5 million.
Okay.
So again, even at 1.7 where he's at, that's not that far away from the top.
Yeah.
So I don't see this being a money grab by Trev. I see this being there's a leadership void at the University of Nebraska right now, and he wanted to go someplace where there is not.
Yeah. So the news, we could confirm it. There was a email sent out to staffers, it sounds like.
Right before 5. So again, this all started at 9 a.m. this morning with that Houston Chronicle article. And then throughout the morning, it's a will he, won't he? There kind of seemed like a minute there. The AP had reported that no decision's been made just yet.
The afternoon kind of cooled off.
And so it's like, well, maybe, and because this kind of happened at Texas A&M recently, in where they had fired their former head football coach Jimbo Fisher. They had to pay, I think, $70 million buyout, and they were getting ready to hire Mark Stoops from Kentucky, and there was this huge sort of tidal wave of backlash from fans on social media, and then all of a sudden that stopped, and it turned into hiring a different guy. And so it's like, well, it's maybe the same thing happening here. But then we found out shortly before 5 o'clock, which usually that's the way it happens.
4:52.
In the working in the newscast world, it happened right before 5 o'clock. So the newsroom just kind of like burst into people running around all over the place. that he was in fact leaving. So
yeah, and we've got a statement here from interim president Chris Kaborik. He says, quote, "I'm disappointed to see Trev leave, but I am grateful for his 15 years of service to the University of Nebraska. Both the Mavericks and the Huskers achieved great things under Trev's leadership, and we wish him and his family all the best." We haven't seen anything yet, at least at the time of recording, from any coaches or anything like that. Do you have more of Trev's statement?
I have his statement that was released as from Texas A&M. I mean, it came out that shortly before 5 that, okay, yeah, he was leaving. And Texas A&M, the university, again, almost right at 5 o'clock, they put it all out on their social media. And, again, it was all...
The picture of him in the maroon.
The picture,
yes.
And, again, an article. And so they... Probably again, they had their ducks in a row as they kind of put this together, and so in his statement in the Texas A&M press release, he says, quote, "Leadership matters now more than ever before. My interest in Texas A&M is not only due to its prestigious reputation, but also because of President Welsh's compelling vision in which I believe athletics can play a small but important role in helping Texas A&M achieve unprecedented success."
Yeah.
So again, it's that leadership matters now more than ever before part of that quote where
that
it's kind of
sticks
like,
out to people.
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you got to talk with a former 10/11 sports reporter, Nicole Griffith, my dear friend. She's down in Texas right now reporting in College Station. I listened to that podcast. She had a really great quip about, I hate to say it, but it is the SEC.
It is the SEC, and again, there's always that question mark. And I think I remarked with Kevin after we got done talking with Nicole that if he would have said that a couple years ago, I would have had a easier time believing that. But now with conference expansion, with the fact that the Big Ten is adding USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, moving to a 20-team conference, a national conference, the fact that it looks like they're angling to get multiple automatic playoff bids into the new college football playoff. I would say the Big Ten and SEC right now are on pretty equal footing. Again, I think a lot of this goes back to the leadership void at Nebraska that we've seen that is not currently at Texas A&M. And what Nicole had said that kind of caught Kevin and I's ears was the fact that Texas A&M had wanted to get a new athletic director in place before the SEC tournament, which starts today or on Thursday. And so the timing of it makes sense for them that this happened today. It's kind of, terrible timing for Nebraska because there's all this momentum around a lot of what Nicole said, the court sports, especially basketball, both men and women, expected to make the NCAA tournament. A lot of good vibes around the university right now, and all of that kind of comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah. Well, Bill, thank you so much for explaining it, breaking it down. You've been a part of the coverage since this morning, so I really appreciate you joining me for this.
I am ready to go home and take a nap.
Okay, you should go do that. All right, let's get on to our other news for the day. If you want to fly international out of Omaha, that may be happening soon. Senator Deb Fischer and Congressman Don Bacon told Epley Airfield about that news today. The airport will get $7 million because of the passage of the Consolidated Appropriations Act. That will go to a federal inspection service facility, which will allow for the handling of international flights and processing international travelers. So, in plain English, that means international nonstop flights are likely on the way. And T-I-double-G-er, you are seeing a person in a Tigger costume on your screen right now. Crime Stopper says this person broke into the Generation V, it's a vape shop on 48th and Old Cheney on February 18th at around 1 a.m. LPD says the Winnie the Pooh pal impersonator threw a concrete rock through the window, bounced through, because that's what Tigger does best, ran around the store and swiped $500 worth of items from the shelves. And if you ask me, that's giving more Swiper from Dora than Tigger, but hey, what do I know? There he is, bouncing through the window. That burglar said ta-ta for now, and LPD has not found him. If you know anything about this, anything maybe from your section of the 100-acre woods, you're asked to call LPD or Crime Stoppers. That is it for us today. Thank you for joining us for this version of the Night Beat. We've got more news, weather, and sports tonight at 10 and all night long on 1011now.com. Before you go, here's a look at your forecast.
You've been listening to The Night Beat. Watch, listen, and stream on the 1011 app on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.